What was your first experience of the fund management industry?
The first experience of fund management rather than other aspects of financial services was in an institutional fund management house called Kleinwort Benson, which was a merchant bank, and fund management was very much peripheral to its activities. The area which was probably more important in terms of management, time, prestige and so on was an operation that today we would refer to as wealth management. A great deal of which was, of course, the founding families and various other former partners. It was, at the time I was there, which was in the early 70s, it was the third largest by size of balance sheet of the investment banks, or the merchant banks as we called to them in those days. And they were accepting houses, so their accepted bills were eligible at the Bank of England and so on. But that was the start of the fund management, my fund management involvement.
Now, you were quite surprised at your first appointment as a fund manager, weren't you? Tell me about that.
Well, the only reason I became a fund manager was that there was a requirement which someone hadn't noticed in a particular request for a proposal, that the person doing the job should have undergone positive vetting and be an approved person for defence and similar purposes, which I had done when I was a student. I was apparently the only person available, and the presentation was taking place the next day. And I do remember saying to the director who was leading that particular sales party, but I don't know anything about fund management. He said, then you better shut up then. And from there, just progressed. I had been doing most of the project finance modelling for the bank at that point in time. My original skill set, if you like, and the reason I came into financial services had nothing to do with managing money. This is where the computers were. What I did understand and worked in was computers.
When did you realise that there were aspects of the asset management industry that were, shall we say, not particularly savoury?
In late 1974, I was asked to look at a proposition to lend a substantial amount of money as part of a syndicated loan to Burma Oil. And Burma's balance sheet did not stack up. And I said I thought that we in credit committee should decline. And one of the directors said, are you aware of what that means? And I said, well, one, I presume it means Burma won't survive, and two, I think the market will probably take it very badly. Well, the market took it catastrophically. I got a phone call from a couple of different insurance companies being asked to join a concert party that would in January start buying UK equities, which I agreed to participate in. It would, of course, be completely illegal today, but in that first month of that year, we drove the UK stock market from a low of around, I think it was 174, to twice that in the space of a month. You have a month where the return on the index was over 100%. I looked at and just happened to notice the fees charged on a fund that I was managing. And it struck me that they were wrong because they were about twice what they should have been. I mean, it was an order of magnitude, almost an order of magnitude problem. And so I went downstairs to see the guys in the back office who computed these things. And I sort of said, really, the fee on this fund should be 0.5%, but this is close to 1. And, show me how this is done. And there were all of these add-ons. My airfares to go and visit the client, the taxis to and from the airport, all sorts of things. And then I go down and go, well, what's this item? Yeah, oh, well, that's the fund share of the research commissions we paid. I go, but those are equity research. Oh, yeah, we pay for bond research using equity commissions. And you sort of go, but this has doubled the fees. It's more than doubled the fees. The guy said, yeah, it's true. This is how it's done. And I just went away going, this can't be right.
In your experience, were the managers who did manage to outperform skillful or just lucky?
Luck plays an enormous part. Am I getting involved in investment management? Luck. I happen to be the person in the room with the relevant qualification. Other circumstances, one of the best customers I ever had, I happened to sit next to on a plane. Had the girl on check-in put me in a different seat, I would never have met him. There is a huge tendency of fund managers to attribute their outcome, their successful outcomes, to skill. And of course, their failures are bad luck. The reality is the number of people who can add value is very limited. Basically, the problem that we have is, in technical terms, NP hard. It's largely indeterminate. We do not know enough information. We do not have enough information. It just isn't there. And we also can't really predict beyond ultra extreme movements with anything like precision. I got lucky a few times. Perhaps I was insane, as lots of people argued with me back in 1989. In August of '89, I was running a fund that had 73% in Japan. The index in IFA index was, I think, around 71.5%. In that month, it looked to me that Japan really had gone too far. Zytec, for which read financial engineering, accounted for more than 100% of Japanese corporate earnings. This was nonsense. So I sold everything that we had in Japan in the IFA fund, which was 3/4 of the fund, effectively. I had to put the money somewhere. I put it into Germany. I quite liked the German markets. I thought there were possibilities that they would do reasonably well. I did not expect the wall to come down. I did not expect anything like the speed of the post-Gorbachev perestroika and breakup of Eastern Europe. But net-net, the German market rallied like there was no tomorrow in the course of the next quarter, and Japan tanked. And my portfolio did 54%. When I put that trade on, I thought it might be good for 5, maybe 10. I didn't expect the Japanese market to tank by 25% in 2 weeks. And I don't think anyone could have predicted that.
So what do you make of the star manager culture then, when you read in the money sections of the newspapers about such and such a manager being, a rising star?
No, there aren't. I don't believe they exist. If they exist, then how are you going to find them? If you look at aggregate performances, it's just not there. The guy who's a star this year isn't next. I frankly don't believe they exist. I certainly wasn't a star. I was lucky.
With Regis Media's video subscription service, you'll receive expert views on investing from around the world. Videos come fully branded to your firm and are delivered within 2 weeks of signing up. Find out more by visiting regismedia.com.